Say hi to Car, my favorite DC character. My first monitor has Car. My second monitor that you don't ever get a chance to see has Captain Marvel on it. My second favorite Marvel character. My first favorite Marvel character is Gambit. I don't want no dudes on freaking monitor screen, so he didn't get the option. Everything should be good.
Hey everybody, I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios. So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DCU continuity.
I like that he's using the term Elseworld to like define it. Like instead of just saying this isn't canon or this isn't like how Marvel stuff is like this isn't MCU. Like he's just showed as MCU. Run Noise is MCU. This is MCU. Like things like that. He's saying Elseworld. Elseworld is a DC thing, like so he's using like an actual DC lingo for comics, for the comics as like an actual comic book you can read as a way to describe the out of content DC, out of universe DC stuff like Teen Titans Go, the Joker, and then the Matt Reeves Batman movie, which is getting a sequel. They're not erasing that the Batman exists. They're going to do a Batman Part 2, but that Batman is separate from the DCU.
Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe. Then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now. So, Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now this, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter. The first project is Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them.
About that, that's something that Marvel doesn't do. Like, well, Marvel, like they're starting to do it now. Like, technically, What If is MCU, but it's not actually, like, it's not like you're not going to see the What If characters appear in like the Marvel movies that we know of so far. But like a lot of Marvel cartoons that are like Disney Channel and whatnot aren't tied to the MCU, but these will be tied to the DCU. That's actually a good thing that Marvel doesn't really do. Kind of reminds me of Freakazoid.
Them in live action. The next project up is Waller. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is a fantastic
That's actually like a high chance of being good.
Out of this world, and I can't
Doom
wait. Doom
Patrol is really good, and so is Watchmen.
Next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay, the next thing is a big premiere HBO television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, John Stewart and Hal Jordan. And we have a few other Lanterns.
This idea. I like, because generally when it comes to like, if they do Green Lanterns, who will they go with? Because when it comes to us as a mass media consumer, we know about, most people know about 2 Lanterns. They know about Hal Jordan and they know about John Stewart. Now if you are a Lantern fan, you know about more people like Guy Gardner and Jesse and so on and so on. So there's multiple Green Lanterns, and you have like the Black Lanterns, so the White Lanterns, the Indigo Lanterns, the freaking Sinestro Corps, and the Red Lanterns. Like there's a lot of lanterns, and a TV show is perfect because it allows you to be able to like go through all of that without having to have like, because you would probably need like 6 movies to explain all the shit that's just said when it comes to the number of different Green Lanterns and the Sinestro Corps, Red Lanterns, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So with a TV show, you can have both John Stewart and Hal Jordan instead of one or the other, and be able to like introduce those other Lantern characters and other Lantern factions. So it's definitely great to have a TV show. Would have been great to see the guy who plays John Diggle in the CW Flash play John Stewart. This is like, as some fanfare
peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial based TV show, which is almost like True Detective with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing a television series called Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island. The introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line, and so this is the story of the two of them.
He's an annoying sack of shit.
And the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU. Next up is a TV series called Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser.
So James Gunn said that he would like to work with Chris Pratt again. I feel like that again is Booster Gold. I can definitely see James Gunn getting Chris Pratt to play Booster Gold, or they can get what's his name, the guy who's playing Soldier Boy and The Boys, and get him. I think he would also be a good Booster Gold.
From the future, who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series. One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way, so she's a much more jaded character. And that brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're going to talk about, a very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories. Anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about right now.
Those are the key words to me. Still be tied into the stories. DC's big issue is that everything's kind of a jumbled up mess. There's all these different individual products and projects. And then you kind of, went way too soon into Justice League and way too soon trying to have like Doomsday. So it's like, slow down, pace yourself, and have things build up, and so we can enjoy a payoff instead of just rushing to that payoff instead of building up for it.
I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly
important. He sounds very passionate, so I
knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching.
That's just the end of that. Yeah, story is king. And I like this video. This video, it definitely gives you like the look you want to have into what the future could be. Marvel does its own little roadmap kind of thing similar to this, where Kevin Feige tells you what's coming. So this is why I really like James Gunn getting a job, because James Gunn's going to use that knowledge he learned from Kevin Feige with DC. That's also what One Brother's hoping. They're hoping that he uses that Feige knowledge to help with the DC. And it's also what DC fans have wanted. DC fans have wanted a fan to run DC. Like kind of how Star Wars fans really want Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to run Star Wars. Kevin Feige's a Marvel fan, he runs freaking Marvel. But you have fans who also know the industry, work on the projects, then you end up getting, even if you get like something bad, you'll at least know there was good intentions behind it. Or instead of like basically like some force fed or money hungry kind of like product, you'll at least know that yeah, this movie might have been good or should not have been good, but the intention there was good. You can notice that intention when it comes down to it. Kind of like what would Superman Returns. Superman Returns is a bad movie. Brandon Roth is a great actor. He's a great Superman. But the movie was bad, but you kind of like it a little bit because you kind of understand what the goal was there. The goal was pay homage to the old school Christopher Reeve Superman, so you kind of respect it in that aspect. So you can have a bad movie and still be like well received and liked if the feeling is that the intention there was good. I'm curious on how Flash is gonna go. I'm curious how Aquaman ends. I'm very curious about Blue Beetle. We haven't seen anything about Blue Beetle. We seen, you know, some nuggets about Flash. We have an idea of Aquaman 2, but that's a sequel and a character we're familiar with when it comes to Flash. We don't really know a lot about Blue Beetle movie. We don't know what the goal is there. I forgot who even had I heard they had the cast for Blue Beetle behind me, but I forgot who they had cast behind me. Most people who are film goers don't even know who Blue Beetle is. If you're a comic fan, you know who Blue Beetle is. He's a very likable character. He's a very good character. So it'll be interesting what happens with Blue Beetle. Generally though, I'm excited for DC. Excited for James Gunn. I'm a big comic book fan. Not just a Marvel guy. I'm also a DC guy. As you saw, my background is Supergirl, so I'm very excited for Supergirl movie.